Hey guys, it's Elijah back with another video. This video is about everything you need to know as an investor or someone interested in the metaverse. What and why Mark Zuckerberg is investing billions of dollars into the metaverse. Before I start, all I want to ask is for you to like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Thank you, and let's get started.
Did Pokemon Go, going back 5 years ironically, was that something you watched carefully? Because I was like, holy shit, this is now happening. People are pulling off on this highway, jumping into the woods to find a Pikachu. I would have I'm pretty good at this game too, but I would have lost this bet, which was after that was such a smash hit through the phone. The fact that we're here 5 years later and there has not been another significant AR phone execution of that scale, surprising to me. What's your take on that?
I thought it was very interesting for Gary to talk about Pokemon Go. If you don't know, Pokemon Go was a huge success back in around 2016 from 2017, where Niantic Labs and Nintendo collaborated to make an AR Revolve mobile game where you'd walk around outside searching for Pokemon. But ever since the hype of 2016 and 17, we haven't seen a successful AR mobile game, as Gary stated. But what was so unique about Pokemon Go is that the combining feel of the future with the past of most players' childhood. I'm sure you watching this remember collecting Pokemon cards, and to be honest, I don't know what other company can pull off the same type of success that Pokemon Go brought in 2016. But listen to what Mark Zuckerberg has to say in the next clip.
Yeah, well, I think Pokemon Go it was interesting, and it's a real hit, and it is an interesting phenomenon. But I consider it to be more of a location-based game than an augmented reality game. The fact that that it shows that you kind of look at it through your camera, I think is somewhat incidental. I think the core mechanic is that you're going to a place.
So, as Zuckerberg said to counter Pokemon Go's connection to the metaverse, is that Pokemon Go is a location-based game. Meaning you need to go outside of your home, hint the word location, move around, and catch Pokemon and earn levels up. With augmented reality games, you are at the comfort of your home, so no need to move your location, and you can also factor things in like haptic touch and real sense of feel in the game.
Yeah, well, look, I just think that when you plant a flag and say that you're going to go do something, you get haters and criticism.
Of course.
But you also get the people who actually care about that thing and want to make it happen are attracted to the people who I think have the courage to go say, I'm going to go make this happen, even though it's really far off. So I think that all these things there are pros and cons to them, and there's a lot of complexity to manage. But I think that this is true no matter what size organization you're at. Is that having the willingness to just go say, hey, here's what I want to go build, I think certainly creates this self-selection dynamic where when you say, here's who I am and what I want to go do, then you get people who want to share that. And what I've found in my career is that it's better to not be timid about that, right? And to not, pretend that you're something that you're not, to try to appease critics. I think, the more that you can just be honest to who you are and what you want to go do, I think you'll kind of get the right people to join your team. You'll get the right investors, you'll get the right partners. And I think that that's kind of how you move forward.
Why I personally think that Zuckerberg is going to be very successful with the metaverse is with the previous and most famous social media startup from the 2000s era, Facebook, totally crushing the competition that it had at the time. Starting from Harvard to Stanford, having access to Facebook, to now roughly having 2.8 billion active users on their app.
Should I assume, because I'm a nerd when it comes to watching business behavior, that much like what you're doing with Metaverse now, which I think is the macro move of that, and that like in between now and that scaled world, the companies that have the kernels that do best in the attention graph, whether that's in the Metaverse, video, so, picture, like that will always be a core focus?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a key thing with this rebrand to Meta is it's not like now we're not focused on social media. I mean, that's going to be the bread and butter of what we do. That's the core thing. And our work to build the metaverse encompasses both building social experiences and building these future platforms like VR and AR. It's got to be both, right? We have to weave all of these new technologies through these social apps, and because you want to be able to jump into the metaverse and a 3D experience from your Instagram feed, right? See your friend at a concert. We showed this as part of the keynote presentation. Just dive in and maybe be a hologram at the concert, but a lot of the discovery around that is going to happen through the core social platforms. So yeah, that's going to continue to be a focus. We're going to keep on focusing on growing and building apps and adding more social mechanics around that. I think that there's a lot more to invent there. And then I think that there's this next set of platforms, right? Where, one of the things that I reflect on a lot is, social media kind of grew up with the smartphone.
Yes.
Right? Facebook I started in 2004. And I think Apple was probably already working on their iPhone design by then. It came out in 2007. So, we didn't really get to shape what the smartphone was.
No.
We built a lot of the most used experiences for it, but it's sort of it grew at the same time. And because of that, I feel like the smartphone sort of grew in a way that it's somewhat limiting in terms of the type of social experiences that you could have. I feel like there's a lot of things that I would love to build that we can't build because we're kind of constrained into this, little rectangle and policies that some other companies set. So that's part of, for me, why I have so much passion about helping to bring about this next platform shift and accelerating it. Because I think the sooner we get to virtual and augmented reality, the better, the more magical these social experiences are going to be. And I just think, our platforms should be designed around people interacting with each other. I think that's like how we process the world as people. And that's just not how phones are designed. They're designed around apps today.
I'm sure you've heard your favorite YouTubers say it's all about the views in a joking way, but in reality, social media is about how many people you can reach with your edge on the platform. But the big picture is that Meta and the Metaverse are trying to enhance the whole feeling of social media and expanding the limits of the smartphone. Because in this day and age, we have limited the smartphone in the social interactions aspect of itself.
To me, during that era, Farmville on Facebook, oh my God, people are buying these digital sheep because they want the social currency to show their friends they're good at it. And then Zay Frank, I don't know if you remember Zay Frank.
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
Zay Frank, who's one of the first video bloggers, he had people buy virtual ducks as little tip jars and have their name hover over it. And those were the first times I was like, oh my God, people are gonna buy virtual things, virtual currency. In my book, Thank You Economy, I talk a lot about virtual currency in 2010, 11. Was it natural for you to believe in what's happening right now with NFTs because of the things like Farmville that happened on your platform?
Well, I've always been a pretty big believer in virtual goods. So I think from that perspective, yeah. But I think a lot of the magic of NFTs and a lot of the Web3 work is that it's designed in a way to be fundamentally interoperable. So I think that that's going to be really important because it'll help break down these silos between different apps and make it so that all your stuff can be just more portable between these different experiences, which I think increasingly is what people are going to expect. I think that that's going to be a big part for creators of making it really worth investing in, because if you're designing a digital good for Farmville and it only works within there, then like I don't know. I mean, it's
limited.
You kind of get to the point where most of the people who are going to be building that are
I
going to be Zynga. Right?
To your point, here's the world we live in now. You're a young kid and you're in Minecraft or Roblox. You grow up and you want to go to Fortnite. All that money you invested is kind of stuck in there. In the world that you're talking about right now, the Roblox and Minecraft of the future, when you're done with that, you're just going to trade it for your Fortnite stuff. You're going to trade the Fortnite stuff or sell it, or it's all going to be in that one global ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, the analogy that I like to think about is, I like your Knicks hoodie.
Thank you,
but
sir.
Imagine if you bought a jersey and you could only use it in the sports arena where you bought it. Right. It's like that would be sort of lame, and it would reduce the value of buying it. Right.
That's right.
Because who's going to want to buy something if they can only use it in that arena? I mean, some people would, but a fraction of the number of people who would want to buy it if they could use it in all these different places. And then if the amount of commerce is going to be less, then that's going to attract fewer creators.
So in essence, Gary and Zuckerberg shared their thoughts on NFTs and virtual goods. But one thing I'm going to have to take note is how Gary Vee talked about when you invest in a certain game like Fortnite, all of your currency is only usable within Fortnite. That's a huge eye-opener where you have our generation switching from tons of genres of games quickly, and those investments from those various games kind of get foreshadowed and never looked at again. But potentially with the Metaverse games, There will be a marketplace where no matter what game, you can relist or trade that certain digital good for something that you are interested in, which supplies a physical transaction attribute to NFT play-to-earn games and the future of Metaverse games.
All about to become the fashion industry because we communicate so much through what we wear. The digital version of that is going to have an incredible impact on society.
We can already compare this to verified social media accounts, buying fake followers and engagement, and other social outlook stunts. But we can also see this having a huge impact on the fashion and style within the metaverse, like how we see trending designer brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Supreme getting huge amount of people artificially hyping up these brands as a social status.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think if we're all spending a lot more time in the metaverse, then I think we're going to care a lot about our representation of our identity, and we're going to want different outfits. And I don't know, maybe everyone except me, I just wear the same thing. But it's
did you steal that from Steve Jobs?
Mark,
hard hitting question. Did you steal wearing the same thing every day from Steve Jobs?
I don't think so. I just think I was maybe a little lazy, and then like had some kind of some good articulation of like, oh yeah, this is just about saving mental energy. But I think I don't know. I was never really a.
But you know what's funny, Mark? I'll be honest with you. I actually think that's the punchline. You consciously or subconsciously made that decision to represent yourself, and I think that going digital is going to be extraordinary.
Yeah.
I really do. I really think that people are grossly underestimating that almost all the things we've been doing are about to get more visual, more collateralized, more obvious, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people realize why they bought a Rolex. I really don't. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, I don't think I overthink why at 45 years old, I look like I'm 13 right now, right? Like, there's a lot going on in that. And I think that when it hits digital, it becomes more obvious. I think a lot of people's conversation about what's going on digital is actually just showing us what we are much more than anything else. And so I think as we go into the realm of consumerism is insane, right? Like when you think about how much people buy things to communicate, that going digital and being so in our faces, because so many of these things sit in our homes where 99% of our social graph never sees it, that going to a full 100 is fucking crazy.
Yeah, but I think you're hitting on a number of important pieces here. I mean, first, a lot of people think about this as kind of commerce, and I think a lot of it is actually really expression, right? Which is the core social dynamics. So the intersection between that expression and your identity and then the commerce around that, especially if we can get it to be interoperable, so it's a more fluid market, I think is just going to be a really 100%. Big deal. Much bigger than I think people sort of internalize today. The other thing that I think is just really refreshing and insightful to hear you talk about is all the lessons from some of the previous rounds of development. I hadn't really thought before you raised it about some of the early Farmville experiences or some of the stuff from a decade ago, but I think you're right that there is a clear through line, right? Both between the kind of social interactions that people have and the types of commerce. And obviously there's more technology now that can make it more interoperable and that can give people more rights over the goods that they have. And on the AR and VR side, making it so people can feel a more realistic sense of connection. But I think you're right that a lot of these concepts are not fundamentally new. They're sort of the next iteration on kind of just dynamics that are evergreen and that are just always going to be and always have been very important to people in terms of how we connect and interact with each other.
It's my take on what happened when you were inventing. I'm like, oh, people put their kids' school on their back of their windshield to flex. My kid's going to Harvard and might drop out. But like that's what they would do, right? Like they would literally, like we've been doing all these same things. Digital's just exposing truths and scaling truths. And I think the new frontier of 3.0 Metaverse is going to take us to a completely different place that I do think Web 2 gave us a slight preview to.
You want to be in the game building stuff.
You
really should remain curious and keep using all this. So yeah, I mean, on all the crypto work, I mean, I try to kind of be involved and experience that. I mean, I think there's a lot of parts of the experience today that are still pretty early,
Yep.
right? And I hesitate to say something pejorative like broken, because I think it's I have much more of the attitude of it's just not as great yet as it will be in the future.
So in essence, that's all you need to know as an investor or someone interested in the metaverse, simplified and put into this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, smash the like button and subscribe. With that, stay blessed, and I'm out.